we will get to the Guma Yushi news in a hot moment. Really quick to start the video, I do want to mention that Thankmas has begun. It's a charity event that we participate in every year as hosted by Jacksepticeye that lasts through the end of New Year's. Now, I don't expect any of you to donate. Obviously, if you don't have the money or anything like that, that's totally fine. But if you want to spread awareness about the event, it lasts from now through New Year's, and you can create your own campaign if charity is something that you want to do as well through Tiltify. Tiltify has made it very easy, and this is about as close as like a sponsorship as it will get. I'm not sponsored to say this, if you're into charity, Tiltify makes it super easy to participate in charity events like Thankmas, and I like that because I do like doing charity events. So our campaign has begun. I'll put a donation link in the pinned comment, and now we'll move on to your regularly scheduled Let's Talk Jinx video every Wednesday, in which case patch 13.23 came out a day early even, because Thanksgiving is coming up in the United States, in which case Thursday and Friday is usually off, and then of course into the weekend, which is Saturday, Sunday. So instead of delaying the patch like a whole extra week, they decided to drop the patch early. Unfortunately though, what we usually do here is we talk about Jinx changes and things like that, and as we scroll down here, there's not really any Jinx changes or even Jinx like related changes. Like usually maybe I'll be like, oh, you know, here's like a support change, because there is some like Janna changes, there's some Draven changes, so we could like talk about those briefly, because yeah, if Draven's buffed enough, you might see Dravens in your lane and you want the Jinx Draven matchup situation. But even then, it's just an R quality of life change, in which case when he throws the R out, if it strikes a champion, when he's dead, the blades will always still come back to his dead body, I believe is what this is saying. In which case, yeah, I guess if you're Jinx in the Draven matchup and Draven's about to die, so he throws out the ult and you dodge it, just make sure you remember it's a boomerang and that sucker will be coming back after you. So maybe he could still get a kill afterwards and still maybe I guess he won't cash in because you would have still killed him though. I think it's just for the fact of getting just regular kill gold at that point, like a trade basically, because Draven's supposed to be like aggressive and stuff like that. So sometimes we've all probably played with a Draven, or maybe even played against a Draven that went a bit too aggressive because he's trying to get them stacks, and this is the punishment that usually happens, and then now he might be able to get a little bit back for it, I guess. And then Janna. So the passive bonus move speed is being adjusted, the W cooldown is being decreased, the targeting is adjusted, and the R cooldown is being decreased. So they're basically saying that the bonus move speed scaling is going from, it started off only 20% and we'll get up to 35%. It's just going to be a flat 30% the whole time. Stuff like that. I feel like this is still going to take some time to fill out. It seems like Janna isn't like the go-to support at the moment, so this isn't something that we might have a lot of information on until maybe another patch goes live, to know exactly how to work well with a Janna. But with Jinx, of course, like Jinx Janna lanes are for some people fantastic. I've talked about this before. Some people prefer those hard engage, you know, lanes. I tend to like those myself personally, but some people like the protection, shield and peel, keep you safe type of supports like Lulu, Nami, Janna, stuff like that. Janna wasn't something that was very prevalent though, even when other maybe Enchanter, that's what they're called, Enchanter supports were, and Janna of course got some changes in general. I wouldn't say it's a rework, but definitely a shift in playstyle that is still settling down right now. So until that completely settles down, we'll probably talk about Jinx Janna more in future patch videos, but for now it is there, so you might still people experimenting with Janna, and you might have to play with Janna if you are Jinx. Now, but there is bigger Jinx news though that we can compensate for the lack of patch stuff in this particular video. Even the skins, like there is like a Blitzcrank skin, so you might see Blitzcranks in your game. You might play with Blitzcrank, you might play against Blitzcrank. Remember that the hook is on a 12-second cooldown, so if he walks up and misses that hook on you, you can punish him for about a good 12 seconds until that's back up on his Q. I believe it might even be 23 seconds at first, but if they're maxing Q, it gets down to 12 seconds in lane without cooldown items as well. So keep that in mind. Rocket form if you're going to harass. Maybe just a few rockets too. Like don't spam too many rockets and drain your own mana pool. It's early game. That can happen. But yes, if you're still here, you're here for the Guma Yushi news. So if you don't keep track of Worlds that happens every year, two things happen. One, they switch to a Swiss format instead of the usual group stage, group A, B, C, D, 2 weeks kind of a thing. So Worlds kind of started a bit towards the middle of October and only just ended this past weekend. And instead of the usual start at like maybe even the end of September and usually end by the first weekend of November. But the news on the screen that I'm already spoiling for you in case you're watching this and not listening to this is that SKT T1, which became T1 a couple years ago, have finally won Worlds for the first time in several years, actually. Like, if this was 2015, 2016, and this was like someone peeking into the future, you might think, oh, they've just won Worlds for like another 7 years. But no, they went to the finals last year, which is why in the Gods music video, at the very end, it's Deft fighting Faker. Faker is, synonymous with League of Legends and esports and one aspect, of course, but also they were in the finals last year as well. They just lost in Game 5 to Deft. And unfortunately, Deft, as you know, I speak highly of Deft. I have a lot of respect for Deft. Deft is considered arguably the best Jinx player in the world. And in Deft's worlds, it's because they just know when to pull Jinx out more so than they always have like the best KDA and stuff on the champion. It's debatable, but the point is, when Deft won Worlds, I'm like, okay, Jinx is getting a world skin finally. Cool, right? Because I did play Jinx, since that's a stupid, I'm going to say that's a stupid rule, by the way. I'm talking for over half a decade. I thought that was always a really dumb rule, that you can only pick a champion that was played at Worlds, when you might be known for a champion straight up and you can't pick them. I always thought that was kind of dumb. I'm bringing this up because this is related to later on in the video, but for at least Guma Yushi, who did win Worlds because they were the bot laner for T1, they decided they wanted to pick Jinx as the champion to get the world skin. Now, obviously, Riot has the last say, and I want to preference that because Ahri comes into the conversation. As you may know, there's a skin that exists in League of Legends called SKT T1Z. So Faker, 10 years ago in 2013, his first year, it was insane, it was wild. He won Worlds, and he wanted Ahri to be the skin that he got. And Riot decided no, and gave him Zed instead, and that's why that skin exists. So if you've heard about this Ahri talk now that he's won Worlds again, that's why. It's because he did play Ahri in Game 1 of the finals even, just to make sure that Ahri was in fact picked, so that it's an option to be able to get a skin for Ahri for Faker after 10 years finally. But I'm also bringing that story up too is because, unfortunately, if you go to Keria, down here, they can only get Bard or Renata Glask. But unfortunately, they wanted to pick Lux for their skin, but since they didn't play Lux in the tournament, they can only pick Bard or Renata, and unfortunately, they don't actually really care at that point. And they only wanted the Lux skin. They even had ideas for how to design a cool Lux skin. They were really excited at the idea of a Lux skin, and they can't actually choose Lux for their skin. And that is tragic, and that's part of why I thought it was always a dumb rule. It's like me. Like, listen, I'm not like top 10 Jinx player in the world, but if I made a run in Worlds and I won Worlds and Jinx wasn't meta because it wasn't a hyper carry meta, like Jinx would just get destroyed, I should still get to pick Jinx if I wanted to. And that's my opinion basically on that. If someone's known for a champion, they should, or honestly, it's because they're world champions. They won Worlds. I get you want to make the skin like celebrate Worlds in a way, but no, I think Faker it took him 10 years to get back here in terms of a chance to get an Ahri skin. He's obviously won some Worlds after 2013, right? But this is the first time in a while where it's like Ahri might finally get a skin after a decade. Let people just pick the champions that they want to pick, especially if they're known for it. Of course, Def had to go and pick Caitlyn too. That's the thing. He did not only not pick Jinx, but he picked Caitlyn, of all people, the Hat Lady, the rival champion, right? All right, thanks, Def. But I'm getting to hot take territory because I do feel bad for Keria. I'm like, I feel like they should. Because again, they did this to Faker 10 years ago, so why couldn't they let Keria just have Lux this one time? This might be the first and last Worlds Keria wins. I hope not. I hope I'm not jinxing it, don't get me wrong. But if that's the case, let them pick Lux. What's the problem? You did this? This was a thing. Rules can change, or as Jinx says, they're meant to be broken. Anyway, so I feel a little bad for them in that regard. I'm just saying, like, But also, yeah, so we're getting a T1 Jinx skin. T1's colors are still red. I feel like T1's colors have kind of changed, because in the older days, the jackets, I feel like, had a lot more white on them, too. And now they're kind of more of like the black and red, which I love black and red. It's kind of my own color scheme. Even the charity donation link above at the top of the screen, as you notice, is black with red. So I'm completely okay with that. I'm just trying to think, does Jinx have any black and red skins? Because Firecracker, like, she has black hair and has the red on. But I feel like T1 is going to be a completely different design. Like we've seen, and if you haven't been keeping up with World skins, 1 second. Contrary to older skin lines, the recent splash arts and the effort that they put into these skins are fantastic. So the Jinx skin that's going to come out of this, the Guma Yushi T1 Jinx skin that's going to come out of stuff like this, is going to be great. Like over here we have Caitlyn and Ashe, as a matter of fact. So this is Ashe, this is Caitlyn up here. Like they decided to reinvent the wheel on how they do world skins. If you haven't kept up with that in a moment, the ideology, they explained this a couple years ago, was they want to start envisioning these skin lines as if they were in the world of League of Legends, and more than just like, you know, say the jerseys of the team that won slapped onto a champion. They want to go full in on like, what's the thematic? So this is like the DRX skins from last year when they won Worlds last year. What's the DRX thematic if it was in League of Legends? What's like the ethos? What's like the pathos? What's like the mythical ideologies of what that would be in League of Legends? So for a, you know, T1 skin, of course, which obviously they've won Worlds 3 times before, but this will be a whole new thing, like fish bones. What will fish bones look like? Well, that's going to be it for this video, though. So thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell notification, the actual subscribe button. But I don't know which video will be next, because I have a lot of kinks. So until this time, take care. GG get jinxed. Thank you for watching, and enjoy pizza responsibly.